This is the Book Talk with Corbin podcast. I'm your host, making the really exciting announcement that I just received in the mail 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power by Dr. Boyce Watkins. I am going to be organizing a book discussion around this great work. You can get a copy at BoyceWatkins.com or Amazon.com. I got my copy at Amazon. It is really powerful. I've already started reading it, and I'm excited to have that book discussion about it. Look, guys, I need for you to hit like, thumbs up, as Dr. Boyce would say. I need for you to subscribe, and I need for you to share. We are going to have a book discussion about it. I'll let people know I'm going to send out a link. Well, people are going to notify me, hey, I'm interested in participating in the book discussion. Then I'll send them back a link, letting them know how they can participate. I'm going to charge like a dollar or two, because there are expenses associated with doing this. So I'm going to charge like $1 or $2, and then once that $1 or $2 is confirmed through Cash App or PayPal, then we'll send you the Zoom link, and we'll all get together. I'll be hosting it, and it's going to be good, folks. It's going to be good. And let me read the back page of this. 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power by Dr. Boyce Watkins. Here's the way the back reads. We all know that black wealth matters in ways we can't even imagine. Black people in America are losing the wealth game now more than ever, and despite years of government policy and wishful thinking, the racial wealth gap has only continued to grow. What if there was a way to not only close the racial wealth gap, but to create another gap that favors black people? Why are we crippled by the assumption that we must always lag behind other ethnic groups or imitate their ideals in order to be successful, when the reality is that our community possesses a level of cultural genius that puts us 100 years ahead of everyone else? That's what this book is all about. Here's one thing I like about that, what I just read. That's from the back of the book. Folks, I'm not into all this racial wealth gap stuff, trying to close the gap. Why am I trying to close the gap with folks who may be second place? I mean, if I'm in third place, then that means there's a first place. I'm not trying to close the gap with second place. I'm trying to close the gap with the person in first place, and then I'm trying to move ahead. I'm trying to get ahead. I'm trying to be number one. I'm trying to be in a position where everybody else is trying to catch up with me. And that's the way I view this whole racial wealth gap thing. That's a trick bag, folk. No, that's a trick bag. I'm saying to black Americans, look, we live in the wealthiest nation in the world. Not only one of the wealthiest nations in the world, but one of the wealthiest nations in history. The opportunities to building wealth in the United States of America is it's insane. It's all over the place. There is not a single piece of legislation that prevents black folk from buying and selling land. There's not a single piece of legislation that prevents black folk from buying and selling real estate. There's not a single piece of legislation that prevents black folk from buying and selling stock. There's not a single piece of legislation that prevents black folk from going debt-free and buying index funds. Nothing. The opportunities are there. We got some folks. I mean, look at someone like a Mike Tyson. Look at some of these rap groups like Boosie. Is his name Boosie? Look at him. Look at his background. Look at Lil Wayne. Look at these guys. These guys come from nothing. I mean, they're not just coming from nothing. A lot of times they're coming from -5. And look what happens. They make all sorts of stupid money. Ridiculous. The problem is, many times, our folk in the national black community, we don't know what constitutes wealth. We may know what constitutes income and being rich, but there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. And that book covers that. Let me tell you something else, too. It's one thing to make a lot of money. It's a whole nother matter to turn it into wealth. And it's a whole nother matter to be able to maintain that wealth and to grow that wealth. And then it's a whole nother matter to pass that wealth on to the next generation. Folks, we're not having the proper discussions in the black community around the whole issue of generational wealth, etc. We're not having the proper discussion. We're just not doing that. We have a lot of these poverty pimp programs like the NAACP and the Urban League, and they're always trying to talk about how, on the local level, their affiliates are sort of like the brokers. Hey, we need to get black folk buying more houses. Hey, I am not the least bit opposed to somebody, black or white, owning a home. Man, that's the American dream. But, dude, that's not the only way to build wealth in the United States of America. Period. There are other ways. And then secondly, I hate to tell you, but you really don't need to go through, quote unquote, a program to get a house in the United States of America. You really don't. You just need a halfway decent real estate agent, and you need to start doing some study and research on your own. And you can get that house or that investment piece of property. It can happen. It's to the banks, every bank's self-interest to offer mortgages. It's not to their self-interest to offer mortgages to people who have a very strong possibility of not be able to pay back that mortgage or pay that mortgage on a consistent basis. I mean, that's just, man, that's numbers, folks. That's just science. That's just, business. It's got nothing to do with race. So anyway, I'm going to 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. Email me if you want to participate in the discussion. What I'll do is I'll send you back, how you can pay your $1, $2 fee. And then once you've paid that $1 or $2, then I'll send you the Zoom link. And we're going to start a very serious discussion. This is a serious discussion. It's an important discussion. You got to get this book. Get it at BoyceWatkins.com or Amazon.com. And there's some other books. Do some other book discussion groups around some other books. One by Dr. Boyce Watkins and then some other folk. Because we just have to have these kind of conversations within the national black community. It's just absolutely necessary.